everyone. Hi, it's Kerilie McDowall from Canadian Online Guitar Lessons. So I promised everyone in my Facebook group how to play guitar for beginners and guitarists that I would teach a bit about extensions, chordal extensions. So we're going to talk about happy chords today, like especially for songwriting and extensions, because I think it'll really help you come up with a lot of really neat ideas on your own as you start to combine different extensions and intervals from the scale. Okay, so we're only going to be talking about C major because, you know, of course, anyone who knows about music knows that there's no sharps or flats in C major, so it's a really kind of easy scale to think in, and it's pretty, it's not too complicated having to think about sharps or flats or anything else, so unless you want to, right? So I mean, we may get there too, so you'll see what I mean in a moment. But also, so first I just want to talk about intervals and what that means, okay? So you may be wondering, what did you mean by intervals? So like in a C major scale, we have the first degree of the scale, which is C. We have the second degree of the scale, which is D. The third is E. The perfect fourth is F. The perfect fifth is G. And then the sixth, which is a major sixth, is A. And then the seventh is B, which is a major seven. And then C is the octave, where that C note here repeats up here. Okay? So that's a C major scale. C. So let me just play what that sounds like. Anyone who's ever watched the Sound of Music knows that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, right? Right. Do, a deer, a female deer, re, a drop of golden sun. That song, remember that beautiful song from that movie? Yeah, so that's the major scale. And so we're just going to explore simple triads and adding different intervals from that scale to the chord. So the chord of C major is divided, okay, with basic a 3-note triad. If that's what you were going to play, it's just C, and then you skip a note to E. So C, leave that D out, just play C, E, and then leave that F out and play the G. So that would be C, E, G. That would be a C triad. Okay, on piano it's like bang, everyone knows that, right? But here it is on guitar, right? Here it is down here in this octave, and here it is in this octave. Here it is, let's find it up here. I had to kind of get into the right position to play that. Okay, so that's C, right? And now we're going to start adding different sounds to it. Okay, so first we're going to start with the second, C to D. So watch this. Here's C and D. Right, now we're going to add the G. Right? Now we're going to add the G and the B and the E. So we added that major 7, C, D, E, F, G, A, B is the 7th, which is this note. Here's the E. That's the third. Do, re, mi, mi. Wait, listen, do. Do, mi, do, wait, do, mi, mi, re. So that mi, I'm just not a good singer, but that mi is an octave away, right? So here we go. So that was, or maybe we'll leave it with the 13th or the 6th, right? But so first we're just going to start with C, D, and G. Now we're going to start with C, E, and G. Now we're going to start with C, F, and G. It's a really nice sound. Right? Oh, I really like that. Watch this. So, you know, you can come up with all kinds of ideas just working with just even a simple sound like that. So C, F, and G, right? So that's a sus4, right? C, D, and G is a sus2, okay? C, E, and G is a C major triad, C major, right? So, all right? So you got that concept, I think, right? And you're understanding that C is the tonic, E is the third, G is the fifth. C, D, E, F, G, fifth, A, sixth, B, 7, C, octave. Okay, so then let's just hear that. Good stuff. All right, now we're going to add, let's see, we added the second, we added the fourth. Now we're going to add the sixth, which is A, C, D, E, F, G, A, right? Right, good, it's the sixth. So here we go. Beautiful sound, right? Oh, really nice. Let me find one up here. I'd like to just find one. Oh, here we go. Oh, yeah. So do you see, like, it is about play, right? Like, music is also about play. It really is, just having fun with ideas and seeing where they go sometimes. All right, so, but anyway, so that was that really nice sound. What was that? We were playing C, F, B, and E. But I played that A, right? Right? C, F, A, E. I'm just gonna, okay, now what I'm gonna do is just play some chords based on each tone of the scale. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So I'm just gonna start experimenting with some chords, so randomly. So look at this. Hang on. So as you see, like, I was doing some finger picking there. You may wonder, well, how do you know which fingers to use, Kerilie? You're just making stuff up. Which fingers should you use when you're doing that on your right hand? Well, remember, I've got a really great video up. I think it's pretty great because it really explains very well the PIMA system, P-I-M-A, P-I-M-A, right? So you can just know where to place your fingers on the strings and, you know, have fun, like, alternating them and experimenting with different patterns. So P-I-M-A. Now I'm going to move that same group, P-I-M-A, over a string, and then I'm going to be in position for those strings, right? Maybe I'm going to have to play some leaps, right? That can happen. But then if I was going to go into that next position, it would be D, G, B, E. So there's sort of like 3 areas that you would be anchored with your thumb, right? Be based just on how many fingers you have, right? So knowing that, it can really help you just with songwriting and knowing how to use your fingers in different types of patterns. It's very P-I-M-I is a common one, so. You can take it different places. So as you can see, there was a whole melody just waiting to happen there. So that's the fun thing about music and just exploring ideas and exploring the composing process. It's also very relaxing. It's also a really great way to get you into a present moment. get you thinking of other ideas. Like, for some reason, like at 4 o'clock, in the morning, sometimes I'll stay up late working because there's no interruptions, nobody's bothering me. I get a lot of calls during the day, and sometimes it's hard to work for long periods just because of all the interruptions. Even when I'm turning off my phone, it can be hard to turn off the phone. I think we all know, in the modern day age, just since the invention of the computers, life has gotten too loud, right? So turning off things. But I kind of had this realization, oh, wouldn't it be nice to go on maybe something like Canva and look for, organizational tools, right? So I started doing that like late at night. And then the next thing I knew, I had like 15 pages of goal setting, right? Like different topics. I organized each goal that I have at the moment. Like there's quite a few of them. And so I organized them all and went through them all and kind of strategized how I'll complete each goal, right? So because I'm working on things like film and music and writing and different creative activities and entrepreneurial and business activities, that's why I was doing that. So staying organized with your guitar playing is a thing too, right? So knowing where to anchor your fingers on that instrument, right? Like it's practical to know. It's good to be organized. You may even want to like print off some of those Canva organizational goal setting sheets yourself, just to kind of practice, like get a good practice schedule going. What's a good practice schedule? Well, you may want to play a couple of scales just to warm up, or a couple of chords, maybe you want to play a song as you get going, something gentle and slower as you build up, and then maybe do a bit of improvisation, as your reward at the end. But you want to stay disciplined and focused and working out the things you need to work out technically, or with new songs if you're forced to learn new materials for a band or whatever it is your goals are, focus on that stuff, and then reward yourself with the fun improvisation and all that great stuff after, and do some songwriting, end off your session each way that day, like have fun with it. So, okay, so we talked about C and D and G, then we talked about C and E and G, and then we talked about C and F and G, right? Then we talked about C and E and A, right? And then we talked about C and E and B. Right? And then we talked about the ninth. C, that's that, putting that D on top, because the second is also the ninth. Just repeats. There it is. Here it is. Da, da, da. Yeah? Nice sounds, right? So what if we started kind of going up here? So E, C, and F, and E. There's really famous songs too, right? Like Romance or something. You probably heard that before. I'm just kind of throwing stuff at you, but there's different kind of ways to get that finger picking happening, whether it's like in a folk setting, like, let's find a nice folk chord here. Here's one. I don't know, just make stuff up. It doesn't always sound good. If it doesn't sound good, stop. not if you're performing. Just find a way to improvise to make it sound good. Like there's always a way to fix it, usually, right? Or stop. If you just really hate it, stop if you're practicing, right? So that I do that. I'll come up with it. I was like, oh, I hate that, right? So, okay. So we added each interval of the scale so far, the seventh. Got up to the seventh. We got up to the octave, which is this. Right, that's an octave. And then we went to that ninth. Right? Right? Let me see. And now why don't we add the fourth, right? So let's just try that. So let's see. Here we go. C, F, and G. So that's a nice sus4, right? C, F, and G. That's in root position. And then you want to resolve it to the C, E, and G. So wait a minute. I want C and F, G, C and E and G, and then C and D and G, right? And then C and E and G. Now you hear that, that's called a cadence. You hear that kind of sound very often in church music or, you know, different sort of places. But anyway, and then, you know, you'll find that there's different ways of ending songs like that are kind of cliche or kind of well-known things to do and traditionally in music. So you'll be learning about those things too as you go along. Okay, so we didn't talk about 13ths or, yeah, we just brought you up to the 11th up there. Let's see. So here, let's see. Here it is. Okay, so now we're going to add the 13th. So C and E and the 13th. Let me just see. I think the easiest way to play it is up here. C and E. Right, so that's the 13th. If you add the 9th up there, it's like, right? You can even bring it up to that 10th. You can just make things move around, explore moving ideas around, you know, just coming up with different seed ideas. Maybe you're not always going to like each idea, but maybe you won't like where things lead, or, you know, maybe you'll just change it once you get there, you know. So that's the kind of great things. Did I tell you about Stephen Lyons yet? I don't know if I did, but he's this amazing Juno Award winner from Vancouver, bandleader, guitarist, songwriter. And he always said, you know, that some of his best songs ever were all those mistakes that he wasn't planning on making, but that he just went with. And then the next thing he knew, he would have this amazing composition. And he does some really interesting things with visual scores and some really interesting approaches to working with bands. And I've always been very fascinated with him as a writer, musician. And so he's someone that you can really learn from, just if you really check out his music. He's an avant-garde or inspired that way anyway, creative musician, but he works in other mediums as well. And he's just fantastic. So that's the Stephen Lyons Juno winner here from Fonda Tigers here in Vancouver. But, you know, so he was very serious to me when I interviewed him. And he said, well, yeah, my mistakes are basically my best songs, you know. So that's the thing, you know, just to remind you, you know, as we go through experimenting with creative ideas, you know, we're going to get a real nasty critic in our head going, oh, that's horrible, or this is no good, don't do that, blah, blah, and say all this nasty stuff as you go along. Maybe even, you know, or maybe that's just where you're going with it. But just remind yourself not to do that, not to judge your ideas, because, you know, being receptive and open to where they can go or where they can be changed or how they can be developed is part of everything. And the whole process, like it's about the process really often, right? And then it's about structure and form, and sometimes it's about repetition or, you know, thorough composed, other times stream of consciousness, you know, like improvisation, maybe mixtures of both thorough composed or composed and improvised, right? So there's different ways of working with different mediums within music. Okay, so we talked about that, but did we get to that 13th? Let's see, I think we did, yeah. That's a nice one. Let's see what happens when we add a flat 7. So that would be B flat. We're going to take that C, D, E, F, G, A, B. We're going to bring it down 1 semitone. So what's here is as the B and the E. Well, now we're gonna get rid of that, you know. So we don't want that B anymore. We want the C, E, and B flat. So look at this. Let's see, C, E, and let's find that B flat here. It's not the prettiest sound in my opinion. Like, you know, it gets to be the dominant sound. The dominant sound is great for blues and jazz, and that's a whole other topic. Like, we could just talk about the dominant chord for, you know, probably an hour or something. It's yeah, I'm not kidding. So anyway, that's starting with a C major sound, adding extensions to it. Oh, there's one that I forgot. Let's just talk about the sharp 4 and the sharp 5. Okay, so these are really nice Lydian sounds. Isn't that nice? Wow, that's a C Lydian. It's got the F sharp, that sharp 4 on top, D. So it's like almost like a D with C in the bass, right? But that's not why it's Lydian. The reason it's Lydian is because it's got C and F sharp. And you're going, well, what chord where would that come from? Like, which key am I in when I'm playing a C Lydian? So C, F sharp, and A. Kind of like almost like a D major, like 7. Well, so it would be the 4th degree of any scale, right? So if we're starting it from C, let's see, C, B, A, G. So we're in the key of G. So here it is. Right? That is a G Lydian. So where would that be? G, F, E, D, right? So that's from the D major. Right? Now we're going to play the G Lydian. Okay, so that just gets you started with all those ideas. So that's the sharp 4 chord in a major setting. Just taking, so if you were going to stay in the key of C, you would be doing it with the F position, which is the 4th position, right? It's the 4th degree of the scale, C, D, E, F. C, you know, the scale is C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, right? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Well, we're going to start from F, and we're going to build a chord off that, but we're going to include that sharp 11. So watch this. So F and A, here's the sharp 11, right? There's the regular 5th. Now we're going to sharp that 11 by flattening the 5th. And then we're going to add that G. So it's a nice sound, you know, it's kind of, it's just different ways of, and it sounds different in different keys. So you may like it how it sounds in a certain key better than another key. So okay, I'll leave you with that. That's a nice quick little 25-minute video for you on adding extensions and getting ideas for your songwriting. And one last one that you may want to consider is like that we've got diminished, right? We C and E and F sharp. You may want to think of it that way. But you may want to think of a C to G sharp, right? So augmented, right? So C and E and G sharp. You may have heard this kind of chord with the Beatles or something. Right? And you can move them around in 4th. Like, see how it all repeats nicely and evenly if you move it around in 4th? Same thing happens with diminished chords, right? What's a diminished chord? Well, you can build one off the 7th degree of C major, which would be B, D, and F. So let me just show you this. B, D, and F. want to find a better version of it. Just a minute. Hang on. B, F, A, and D, right? So just moving it around and experimenting with it, but you know that they repeat, right? So these shapes can often repeat in patterns. You know, the more symmetrical forms of ideas. So anyway, that's just a little bit of kind of like you just want, like in classical music, you'll hear stuff like this, like you know, that kind of sound, like, right? You hear that, like these like patterns going down like that, and like, I don't know, Beethoven or Mozart or something similar or based off that. You know, it's very, so this is kind of like where all that stuff started stemming from, those sounds. But you know, we use those sounds like everywhere, like in pop music, like they pop up everywhere. But not as commonly though, usually most often, unless the song calls for that. And that's the great thing, is, you know, you can get creative and use sounds as you like and combine them and match them and develop them or subtract or add to them or slide up to them or trill them, or, you know, it's a trill, isn't it? That's a trill. But you know, maybe you're gonna bend some notes, right? Let me see. Like maybe you're gonna do a lot of vibrato, right? Like there's different things you can do sliding up to a note, right? Like Stevie Ray Vaughan used to get almost like a gunshot sound doing that, cold shot. You know, there were different things that he did. I really like Stevie Ray Vaughan. He was a real favorite. So anyway, guys, if you'd like to check out more or have a lesson with me, maybe hop on board for a few lessons or even a package or a workshop. I'm offering music, guitar workshops and songwriting and film festing for new directors, film shooting for young children and new YouTubers, and let's see, who else am I teaching? Recording artists. I do a lot of coaching with recording artists, and I also work in a publicity kind of manner, sort of setting with nonprofits and businesses. So those are some of the things I do, guys, and you know, you can just check it out online in my store. My website, it's Kerilie.com, Kerilie.com. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really hope you have a lot of fun playing guitar. You know, it's like kind of crazy. Like, you know, I was just showing you all kind of ways. Really what I wanted to show you was how to generate ideas, right? Like, it's not about showing you the best chord or the best this or the best that. Part of the whole process of music is coming up with these ideas yourself and combining in different sounds as you hear them together as you like. This is part of your voice and your uniqueness to who you are. And you know, all I would say is go forth with daring and bravery and courage, and just explore and see what you do. Maybe you're going to be the next innovative composer, or, you know, songwriter, or maybe you're going to change the world with your music. I can't wait to hear what you're going to be doing. And even if you don't want to compose music, I can get you going with other types of styles too as well. So just give me a call or send an email. Thanks, guys. Take care. Happy strumming.